we're looking at a message that is just so profoundly encouraging for anyone on a recovery journey. We're going to explore how just two incredibly simple words can completely shift the trajectory of addiction recovery, faith, and really how we view our entire lives. If you're looking for a faith-based message of genuine hope today, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get started.
So, let's kick this off with a question that might just change everything about how you view your past struggles. Out of all the advice floating around in recovery circles, what do you think are the two most powerful words for someone trying to find their way out of the darkness? Well, hold on to that thought, because the answer is the key to this entire explainer. But to really grasp their power, we kind of need to look backwards first.
Section 1. Remembering where you started.
The Apostle Paul points out that without God, we are essentially spiritually dead. And yeah, that is a really tough reality check. It's vital to validate the absolute darkness of where we came from. But we don't look back to just wallow in shame, right? We look back to build gratitude. The principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, specifically right around page 193, actually echo this beautifully. They remind us that telling our story and remembering exactly what God saved us from, that's the very thing that keeps us anchored. If we forget where we came from, we risk going right back there. Gratitude is literally the anchor, keeping us from drifting back into that old life.
And this is a daily battle, isn't it? Without God, our human nature is it's fundamentally self-centered. We get trapped by what the text calls the passions of the flesh. But notice how it also specifically mentions the mind. A lot of these fleshly desires, they start right up in our heads as thoughts. That is exactly why we can't just fix ourselves through sheer willpower alone. We absolutely have to rely on God to constantly renew our hearts and minds from the inside out.
To really put this into perspective, listen to this quote from the Life Application Bible Commentary. It hits the nail on the head regarding addiction. It says, "The first time it is a thrill. After that, it becomes a tyrant, a heartless slave driver. You don't use it, it uses you." That is terrifyingly real, isn't it? What starts as a quick rush turns into this merciless tyrant that completely runs your life. That is the exact condition we find ourselves in without intervention.
Which brings us to Section 2, the ultimate pivot. Right when we are at rock bottom, completely trapped, boom, the pivot happens. But God. Just when it felt like a totally lost cause, He stepped in. The scripture reads, "But God, being rich in mercy because of the great love with which He loved us." Even while we were actively stuck in our mess, He intervened with this massive, rich mercy and incredible love to bring us back to life.
So think about your own recovery for a second, or maybe a time when everything just seemed totally hopeless. Have you had your own "but God" moment, where He just miraculously stepped in and saved you? Remembering those specific moments doesn't just strengthen your own faith. It gives you a deeply powerful story to share with someone else who desperately needs to hear about a compassionate God.
Moving on to Section 3, the gift of grace.
Look at how Ephesians 2 defines grace here. It says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast." Grace is a totally free, completely unearned gift from Jesus Christ. We didn't deserve it, and we definitely couldn't earn it. So there is absolutely no room for any of us to brag about our own willpower in recovery. If we're going to boast about anything, it has got to be about what God did for us.
And that incredible gratitude leads us right into Section 4, created to help others.
Because this unearned grace, it doesn't just save us so we can sit around. It gives us a brand new purpose. Ephesians 2:10 says we are God's workmanship. Actually, some scholars translate that word beautifully as masterpieces. Think about that. With all your past struggles, all the baggage, all the scars from addiction, God looks at you and sees a masterpiece. So do you feel like a masterpiece today? Because through the lens of His amazing grace, that is exactly what you are.
So how do we actually live that out daily? Well, try these 3 practical steps. Step 1, remember your past, but do it with gratitude. Let it fuel your thankfulness to God. Step 2, commit to regular devotional time. It doesn't have to be hours long, just consistent, so God can keep renewing your mind against those old fleshly desires. And step 3, actively go out and find a way to help another person.
I absolutely love this insight from the late Russ Hamer from the Grace and Hope meeting. He completely grounded this theology into everyday recovery logic. He said, "I've learned in recovery that I need to be in community. Recovery is not something you do on your own. When I help another person in recovery, I think I probably get more out of it than they do." That is so true. We are saved purely by grace, for sure, but we maintain that recovery by giving back and staying plugged into a community.
If you want to dig deeper into these faith-based recovery resources, or if you just need some support navigating your own But God journey, please reach out. Head over to hoperecovery.us or shoot an email to hoperecoveryus@gmail.com. Seriously, getting plugged into a community is a total game changer for making sure those two powerful words continually transform your life.
So because you've been rescued from the dark, and because God stepped in with those two words to make you a masterpiece meant to help others, I want to leave you with this one empowering question to chew on today. What good works has God prepared for you today? Keep your eyes open, watch who God puts in your path, and step fully into that incredible purpose He has designed specifically for you.
For more faith-based recovery resources for yourself or your church or recovery facility, please consider the books and videos of hoperecovery.us.